So, once again, we want to say happy Sunday. It is the last day of the month of May. We are basically walking into halfway into the year. So, we want to talk about some things, especially with risk management. Many of you guys have either personal accounts, some of y'all are going right back to just sharpening your blade by being on a practice account. And some of you guys are also working to stay consistent with your prop firm challenges. So obviously, risk management is a very important conversation still. Okay. Now, Q1 was rough for many of us. It shook some of y'all's confidence up. I mean, I felt this way as well. But here I am in Q2, just getting back into the consistency of things. So I want to make sure you guys are not getting beat up and still showing up, but not really have much to show. I didn't even realize I would connect and bridge the gaps with those words, but here we are, right? Now, I've spoken to a few of you guys in the past couple of weeks, and I'm noticing still some patterns and some things that you guys are working with. And to be honest, all traders are making sure they stay consistent or improving. So there's no shame in it. But um you have to meet your account where it's at. You get me? I mean, always rhyming, man. I'm telling y'all, I'm a ghost rider for real. So you got to meet your account where it's at. Okay. Um, to make $10,000, you got to risk about 2 to 3,000 on a trade. To make $300, you're probably gonna have to risk 75, 100, somewhere along those lines, right? Maybe 150 1 to 1, right? Millionaires risk millions to make millions. Sometimes you have to risk a high six figure opportunity to make seven figures. To make $1,000, you got to risk 200, 300, 350 on a trade to make $1,000. To make $100, you got to risk 35 to $50. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Wherever you're trying to go doesn't need excessive risk, especially if you have 20 trading days, 4 weeks. Okay. I want y'all to sometimes put it in your head that if you make the right decisions on the next 20 to 30 trades, you're always going to get to where you need to go. But if a single week is enough to knock out all your accounts, all your profits, it's time to make peace with the fact that whatever route that is not a good route for you. And it actually knocks out all of your momentum and it shakes confidence. Okay. So sometimes in the middle of the week, let's say Wednesday, we may have had like an idea, or we may even have lost an opportunity. And it kind of, it can mess with us sometimes. You're just like, man, I lost this opportunity, then I lost this opportunity, and then this that happened, and then personal life got in the way. And it's like a ticking time bomb. It happens to me sometimes. But what I've learned to do is to try and still keep my head leveled so it doesn't spill, so that I don't go on tilt. Now, I want to talk about the reasons why I'm telling y'all this. If on Wednesday the opportunity didn't come, or Tuesday you missed the trade, there's still Wednesday and there's still Thursday, right? But if you take 2 to 3 losses out of 10 trades, those 2 to 3 losses should not wipe away the account. And it's like we have to keep telling ourselves that, hey, we should definitely try and keep from being in a range of 2 to 3 trades away from just losing everything. Secondly, uh, swing trading opportunities. I'm going to talk about this specifically for Alice. When it comes to trading gold, swing trades are usually, especially like if you're trying to hold trades for months, the market will have to come down to like bounce off of like a daily demand. And sometimes holding on to certain positions that you think is going to be like swing trading for a long time is a good idea, but you have to know around what season is best to swing trade for months. So we're going to talk about that today. When it comes to gold, some of the best months to swing 4 months at a time, like just a whole position, is number one, October, end of October, right? Up until December, January. If you hold a position and the end of October, maybe sometimes end of November, right? That's going to, especially in the market retesting the zone twice on the demand zone, because sometimes they'll go up the first time, pull back again, and then the second time around, it'll be ready for that long-term swing that you're looking for. It might even continue up until the first, second week of January. That is a very, very good time to swing buys for months when it comes to trading gold. Uh, and I would even say indices. The second time I've noticed is a great opportunity to swing trade for months is the end of July going into August. So towards the end of July going into August, I've noticed that August is pretty good for swings. Like last year, was getting ready to like swing trade for months because I was like, man, I want to hold a position for months. And I got beat up during May, June, and like I just did not want to let go. And by the time I looked at how long price was swing trading uh in August and then they went into February, September, I'm like, wow, even September's bullish. What the heck is going on? I was a bit upset and it was like eating me up a little bit. And eventually I tilted. Why? Because I'm like, bruh, if I had seen it coming, that it was like all this time I knew y'all was about to swing, and now I'm finally wanting to swing, and it's not playing out. And then now it's playing out like in August. Like, why didn't anybody tell me? Because I noticed that during uh the summer, gold doesn't swing. All right. Even when we had all these wars, they're talking about, oh, airstrike into Iran or India. And we're like, oh, yeah, gold is going to be bullish because it's war and rumors of war. That's not what happened. It did not swing during the summer. So everything is important to just like take a note of for next time. Right. So let's go ahead and go uh a little bit further back in time, right? We can see that August after summer, right here in 2024, we had a break and retest. Boom, first week of August was a perfect opportunity to swing. Shoot, look, up until the end of October, that position was still going to do well. Pulled back and still continued. So can we tell that what we said earlier was true? Can we confirm? Do we see that based on this backtesting session that end of July, beginning of August is more of a good swing, like month long swing? Yes or no? It's 12 people in here. Are we seeing that this is facts? Like this is a much better time to swing for months. I need y'all participation.
Yes, yes, absolutely,
Okay.
1000%.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Because I could have just slapped a package and have y'all pay for the shit that I'm telling y'all. Like, this is making y'all see things from a different angle. Now, mind you, a lot of y'all said I've moved from Forex to futures. That's cool. But If you got an extra 500 or $1,000 or $2,000 and you put a point zero 0.01 or point zero 0.02 starting in August, and you're like, yo, this is a portfolio, this is a long-term play, almost like options. Would that bother y'all much? I don't think so. It's the same way you could really use this as an options play for gold futures. Now you're starting to think, oh, wow, yo, come to think about it. Yeah, he's making a good point. I was looking at swing opportunities in the wrong season. Okay. So, uh, this is what I wanted y'all to pay attention to. Some months are just not great swing months. You could swing for 2 days, you could swing for a week, you could swing for uh 24 hours. But some setups, just because you want to swing for months, that doesn't mean the market is ready to swing for months. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's a good 25,000. Yeah. That's why trading and investing takes time because it's one thing to learn, it's also another to lose and take the lessons along with you and understanding seasonality. I'm still learning. Still learning. Okay? So that's just for me to elevate the thoughts and mindset of those around me because I know some of y'all sometimes will like get discouraged when things don't go so well, and I'm not here to fault you, I'm not here to make you feel bad, but I'm also here to reframe your thought process and continuously remind you that this is for the road ahead. All right, so put some fire in the chat if this is helping you feel a lot more confident about how to strategize the market going forward. All right, so what are the two best times to swing trade gold for the long run? Put the answer on the chat, put it in your notes. Alice, are you still here? Awesome. Hmm. End of July, beginning of August. Not July, but August. Beginning of August is usually best from what I've noticed. Okay. So these are the things I've been noticing, and sometimes I wish I had seen it better. I will definitely say I am not an advocate for February swings. Um, Price can be very disappointing or misleading in February. They usually tend to retrace or sell. Retrace or sell. Okay. I also noticed that April is a much better beginning uh month for swings as well. Like if y'all look into swing positions or we were having a bad first 2, 3 months of the market, keep your eyes locked in on April. Know that April is gonna be a better condition and opportunity for the markets. Okay. We are not kids anymore. We got to think about things like on a stronger level when it comes to trading certain asset classes. Okay. So, so start of the third quarter. Yes. Start of the third quarter. Yes. Yes. You're right, Daniel. You're right. Okay. Let's go back a little bit further. We can see October right here. Beginning of October in 2023 was a great start for swings up until shoot, December was still good, January, and they kept it going. Right. We'll go back one more year and then we'll be done with that. So, okay. So, as we can see, 2021, okay, first week of October, we got a break and retest. December just continued it all the way up until February, right? So if you plan on holding 3 month, 4 month swings, start in October, right? Start in October. Start looking at potentials, swing opportunities for August to cost average. You know, these are good swing opportunities. Now, let's talk about risk management on a smaller account. Recently, I've told you guys about like the 10x accounts. Some of you guys have experienced it. Um, but I do want to talk about risk management. A lot of you guys don't have a skill problem. You have a risk management problem. Now you have high hopes about some setups, and then when it doesn't work out, it just takes you all the way out. I still deal with that sometimes, but now I'm learning to tell myself, hey, even if you want to go aggressive, use this percentage for aggressive instead, right? Like let's say on a day I don't want to lose, I should not be losing $2,000 um in a day, right? I should not be losing if I attempt twice and I take two losses, that's it. I'm done for the day. If on a Wednesday I'm still trading because I see an opportunity, I should not let my loss be the biggest loss on a Wednesday because that's the middle of the week. I still need to feel good to wake up for Thursday and Friday. And Thursday sometimes is a lot better than Wednesday. So if you're showing up and you want to trade and you see the markets acting crazy, don't crash out on a Wednesday. Thursday is usually better. Okay? So I want y'all to really like not give up and not overdo it right in the middle of the week. Okay? You want to still have a good positive energy to show up and finish the week. So don't take your nastiest loss in the middle of the week. All right. Because it shakes your confidence and you might feel like you want to get your revenge and then you tilt by the end of the week. So we're still talking psychology, we're still talking like strategy, being tactical about some things. Okay. Now, um, last week we called the gold cells to the T. And I know sometimes like when we missing out on the same plays that we called, it kind of just like sneaks in and we want revenge. But I noticed somebody, I think it was uh what's his name? De jour. When we were doing our analysis throughout the week, I'm seeing the chat in passing. And when we started selling more and more here, and I said, hey, 33.75, 43.75 would most likely be the demand zone. And then I saw that he was expecting price to keep going to like the 42.75s. I'm not gonna lie, that was greed. That was an over analysis of what price could do. And that's okay, right? But why did I pretty much, how was I able to, how was I able to, hey, Tatsimika, I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm doing class with my students. Là, chérie, faut me le back. Non, non, une heure de temps, que ma font un webinaire avec étudiants. Okay. My people love to call me around this time, huh? All right. So why did I know that price was going to sell into this area and pretty much stop selling? This is very important, guys. You remember last year I kept telling y'all, um, when price makes it to a zone where there's a lot of rejection on the daily and 4 hour, especially with gold, price tends to find a lot of force in reverse. I would not even force it too much on how far price wants to go if I see a wick like this on the left, especially if it's last month's or a few months ago's demand. Y'all remember I was saying that. And Yeah, sometimes we can't tell what price is gonna do, but once price does find a 4 hour demand and they start to break structure and retest it on the 1 hour time frame, you should never even attempt at taking sells because then the aggressive buys, all the volume, all the institutional orders are gonna start filling up and it's gonna give you a lot more than you even anticipated. But to be honest, you should anticipate it because every time price makes it to a deep 4 hour demand like this, there's usually a lot of heavy volume buys. So, um, sometimes if you're not able to catch a sniper entry, you need to dollar cost average your positions. Why? Because once price starts to bounce off of the four and the 1 4 hour structure and the 1 hour structure, they come and retest it. Just just being around here with your positions. Yes, I know y'all trade futures now and it has to be a sniper entry. I get it. But once you start to have your orders around here, below the structure is safe. Below that structure is safe. Now I'm gonna tell you what I didn't get to do with this price action. When price took off here, it pulled back in here. I didn't get to check the 5 minute time frame to see a mini structure of what was here. So I didn't get to see that retest for me to get in at 10. So I left that whole day alone with trading gold buys. Okay. Now, whenever you miss out on New York on a Thursday, Asia is your follow up. And between 9 to 12 a.m., you're going to find the opportunity to get in. All right. You're looking for a breaking retest. So, and just checking to see if price is going to respect that structure. Okay. You're going to notice between 9 p.m. to 12 a.m., they're going to set a new floor and you are perfectly fine to attempt at taking the trade and put in a stop loss under that new floor. Most likely, it's not going to be a super harsh pullback that you're expecting because we missed out on all of this. They'll just pull back and just give a nice short retracement to continue. Now, here's why I'm saying this. We don't know if price is going to do a big pullback, right? So that attempt should still be an attempt. If your stop loss gets hit, then okay, your stop loss gets hit in case price does all this pullback. But that should not make you hesitate and keep you from taking an attempt. All right. That almost happened to me. I was like, man, I wanted a deeper pullback. I wanted a deeper retracement. And they didn't give it to me in New York. But by the time Asia came in and they gave me that, I'm like, okay, yeah. Y'all pulling the same stunt. Oh, okay, I get it. I'm getting in. I'm putting my stop loss right here. If y'all gonna pull back all the way, do that. Prove that to me, then I'll decide what to do next. That's a better way of thinking than just kind of hesitating. You get me? Because I know many times we deal with hesitation. We're human, right? We're human, but when you're looking at the market in hindsight, beating yourself up is cool. It's not cool. But what are you gonna do with this newfound data? What are you gonna do better next time? What are you learning from what happened to become a lot more a lot more confident in your decisions? You know? That's the only thing. That's the best gift out of losses, missed opportunities, and sitting on the sidelines. What can we do better from here? That should be the only question we're asking ourselves. All right. So we are halfway into the year. Some of y'all still want to see your first payout for the year. Some of y'all want to continue staying consistent for the year. We all know what we have to do. We each, as traders individually, know what we can do to improve. Write those down on your journal and get better because nobody gives a damn at the end of the day, right? We want the results. We got to get the results. Make sense? Cool.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Okay. Lastly, I know you guys be looking online and you see people making tons and tons of money, and you might be asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? First of all, I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Nobody else's profit is going to our pockets. How their lifestyle versus their trading account matches. Some of y'all not even there yet mentally. Right now, y'all, some of y'all are still dealing with how do I scale? Like, how do I deal with the fear of becoming bigger or buying a bigger account or funding a larger account? Big, losses do play a role, right? But be inspired, but at your own pace. Be inspired, but at your own pace. Right now, the only thing we should be worried about as traders who do this for real is stacking up, putting funds aside for rainy days, being mindful of the withdrawals that we're making. It's not to start balling. If you don't have 3 months of emergency savings as a trader, you need to start focusing on that with your withdrawals. And nobody's going to tell you that online. No trader that you see that's like constantly showing you profits that they made. Some of them, some of them are living a margin lifestyle. That means literally, if they made $20,000 today, by the way, that's gross income. If the 20 doesn't make it out the withdrawal by the end of that week or next week, their losing streak might their winning streak might end. That happened to me a few times. I'm showing profits, but did that profit make it out? No. It was for good content. But did that profit make it out? No. So sometimes y'all literally had a losing day. You get on Instagram, you see someone had like 20,000, 50,000, or you hear I had a great day and it bothers you. Cool. But just keep in mind, if I didn't make this money and I withdrew it, I didn't make the money. So don't let these things get under your skin because we don't know the story, what happens next. Some people made $300,000 last week. Like my boy, QB Stu made $300,000. He's floating, but he also mentioned that he was in profit of 100K 6 times these past 3 to 4 months, and it still came back break even or it was still floating. That money was not secured yet. He had a goal to hold. You ain't even comfortable with 3K, 2K drawdown. You can't be out here just feeling so bothered seeing larger profit when you ain't even comfortable with certain levels of risk yet. Like your time is coming, but be inspired at your own pace. Okay? Please keep that in the back of your mind. All right? Now, these are the things I wanted to tell y'all. Let's focus on the charts. Was that very helpful, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, good, 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 good. All right. Now, the way gold ended last week, we saw price get out of this beautiful selling trend that it was given. And now so price is buying. So we got to think bullish structure, bullish setups, this, and that, and the third. All right. Friday, the market closed out here. we can see this pullback is beautiful. So what might be happening, whether Asia or tomorrow or even Monday night Asia, I barely hear anyone or traders talk about taxes, etc., or net profit. Yeah, let's be honest. A lot of people, a lot of traders don't even make it past being taxed because they done gave it all away. Those are the unprofitable ones, right? They give the money to brokers and by the way, buying futures prop firm accounts, you don't get a tax write-off, or you don't, well, you can get a tax write-off if your tax person can help you say that, hey, I paid for this. Buying accounts is just like buying scratch offs, right? Unless you make withdrawals and you get paid out, like unless you get payouts from a futures prop firm, or unless you constantly withdraw, you won't even like if your tax, if you didn't even make over $10,000 from trading, the best your tax person can do is show that you made expenses. Okay? It can only show that you made expenses. Now, me as a six-figure earner from trading, my tax person is beautiful. Like she takes care of my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my dog. Like we go way back. Um, I wrote off tech equipments. I wrote off even like some of the mileage that I use in my Tesla because I was using the screen to analyze. I was using it as a office space. I use this office that I'm in as an office space, right? So I can write that off. Um, I got to shave down a lot of different things, like some of my losses, I wrote them off. And so my earnings, because like I keep telling y'all, I make sure like when I'm withdrawing, I send it to a specific bank account. So by the end of the month, by the end of the year, I can see how many withdrawals I made. When I'm like calculating the statements from month to month, I'm like, God damn, okay, 175,000 was withdrawn. Good shit, Hans. Okay, how much did you lose? Hey man, if I lost 40 or I lost 50. But damn, if I could see that, that's good. Um, so then that means I got to get taxed off that, right? By the grace of God, I got taxed up to like 13% of that. So I was so happy. I was so happy because that's good. That's good, right? So unless you make a net profit and you actually being intentional about withdrawing, you're only depositing to the broker at the casino. And when you walk in a casino and you ain't take out no bread, you only had a good time at the casino. That's it. And you won't be able to get taxed because you taxed on what? You ain't make no profit. You only get taxed off profit, guys. Okay? So that's why a lot of traders don't talk about profit. And secondly, if it's structured like you're a consultant or educator, or you also making money from like different realms within the trading space, then you're not just getting taxed off being a trader. And guess what? If these accounts are not real, you're only making money as an affiliate. So you're having a different conversation with the tax person. Okay? All right. So all of these things are part of this whole world where things can be very interesting, right? And that's why like I also wanted to tell y'all this. Um you can't really flex a $20 million Forex account because you can't leverage debt with it. You can't show that as a portfolio so you could go into real estate. So that's why it's important for us to like buy into certain stocks, ETFs, um, opening up like a cash value account, things like that. Or like when you start to make profit, put it in a high yield savings account, stuff like that, right? Because a Forex account is really just a Forex account. All right. So, and if you are going to get taxed heavy and you are trading Forex, then your name better not be on that MT5, because then you have to put it in a trust account. Because then if not, bro, that means you're getting charged 40%. What rich seven, eight, nine-figure earner would be dumb enough to want to be taxed 40%? And that's why when you start to hit the seven, eight-figure mark, you move in your funds in places where you can get taxed less. That's why people see through the bullshit online, because you would not put that type of money on a Forex account. The most people, the most I've talked to a couple Forex broker owners, they're like, hey, my biggest account, including my own, and they're saying like, yo, I'm the Forex. Like some people, they are owners, but they're co-owners, right? And they're not putting their full name as the owner. Their trust, the company that they're employed by, because you're trying to make sure you are not liable. That's how business runs, right? When you in high risk business, you want to make sure LLCs and trusts cover these things. So if they're gonna put their family funds money into a broker, they're going to make sure that uh it's not all of their family's money, right? That's common sense, right? So the most you'll see somebody have on a personal overall account is like 6 or 7 figures, quarter mil, up until 3, 4 million. That's just off of one person alone. Now, several groups can come together and it might be a $20 million high 8 figure PAM. But that alone will be traded at a much, much lower risk, because rich people are not fishing for survival like most of us, right? They want 4 to 5%. They want maybe up in, if it's aggressive, they want 15% quarters, 20% quarters. They don't need you to be trying to flip the bread. They don't think like that. When you're rich, you don't think like that anymore. Okay, you're gonna go aggressively into like IPOs, companies that are about to emerge that you have an edge in. You might even put a very great play on options, on futures trading, not Forex. Okay, so for example, I know Alex has 3 million liquid on 1x. The most I've had on a Forex account is probably like 182K, right? Nowadays I'm not putting that much. I'm not. Okay? And that came from me growing an account from 60K to 182. I've traded for a client that literally sent a quarter mil, 243K. I see you, Quells. 243K on one account. And that was on a private server that it was not being traded with the rest of the people in that broker. So now think about that. So I hope y'all understand the levels of things, right? If even you guys, for the most part, I've seen the average deposits. It'd be $500, 1,000, $200, and I can tell right off the bat that means if you're going into something risky, you're only going to put like 1 to 5 to 10% of your net worth, right? Things that you have immediate access to. Why would a multimillionaire put in over $20 million of their net worth? That means they'd have to be worth $200 million to feel okay risking even up to 10% and just trading alone. So there are a lot of things to smoke and mirrors, man. So we have to really just calm down when we see a lot of different types of things online. Be inspired, but at your own pace. All right. Quells, you got your hand up. What's the question?
Hey. Well, it's not really a question. It's more so um just like information. So you had said that we can't really use prop firms to write off on taxes, but actually you can. So there's this guy on TikTok. He helps people. He does taxes for them, traders, whatever. Whether you trade prop, live, like whatever, and like he does taxes for other people too. So he said that he had a client and he helped his client save a lot of money because his client was getting withdrawals, and he helped him save money by putting prop firms on the taxes as well, and
Yeah,
also,
but
um,
I know the black guy and I saw that reel. You
oh,
just said the
oh,
key
so you know what I'm
word.
talking about.
The key word is withdrawals,
Withdrawal, right, 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 right. So yes,
not.
but yeah, so that's why I said what I said because I'm speaking in terms of like if you withdraw. Now, if you don't, then like yeah, this is not for you. But if you have, then you can show that.
That's what I said. You can only get taxed off of profit and withdrawals that you make from a futures prop firm account. Because futures, people have been trading futures for a while. But when you're paying for a prop firm challenge and you never make it past payout, you can't get taxed off of payments that you've paid towards a challenge, right? That's what I said.
Yeah, and also something else. If you like invest in courses, I believe you can write that off as a tax too. So like
Yes, that's
say like
education class.
yeah, like with your course and all of what you do, like people who pay you, etc., could write that off.
Hmm. Yes, you can. You can write off education, but is paying for a challenge education even if you learn something from it?
No.
No. So you can write off losses from a live account. You can write off, um, you can say that you can try and justify with your tax person how you paid you paid for these challenges, and those were just like sometimes tax people know how to find a way into like, okay, so can we say you spent $10,000 this year off of educational firms? It can be a gray area, but yeah, you can try, but it's very tough to just call it out black and white that, oh yeah, you can write off challenges that you paid for. So the key important thing is that we have to make it to payouts. That's why when you see Top Step LLC paid you multiple times, or Lucid pays you, or whichever prop firm that you guys are using, you get paid from their business to your bank account, those are taxable. Okay. So and that's why I'm encouraging y'all, make a separate checking. Make a separate checking just so that when you keep seeing payouts by the end of the year, you could see how much in payouts you made. And it's much better for the tax person anyway. Instead of just trying to like find where when you keep scrolling, trying to find bank statements, like when did I get this payout again? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It gets kind of tough. It gets all tangled. Make sense, guys?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We got KG. I can't remember. I can't figure out who KG is, but you definitely giving some good interactive points tonight, man, which I appreciate. Transaction starts within the mind and then the platforms. Yep. How you transact within against yourself is how you manage your financial dealings. Yep. That's one of the biggest lessons I learned since starting trading 2021. Correct. 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 KG, where are you based at? Okay. So I want y'all to like really keep these things in the back of your mind, especially for those of you guys who are currently, oh, you in Florida? Ah, it's Chris. Okay, 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 okay. Yeah, brother. It's good to have you here. Now I'm seeing who it is. Um, Antoine, isn't that crazy? The one webinar where we breaking down some of those things that you really Love to hear you just pulling up like a ghost, huh? What's up, bro? It's been a couple months, man. Hope you're well. Hope you are well. So clearly, this was basically like a podcast segment of this webinar, right? That's why some of these things don't get talked about online because there's just so much of it, and most traders aren't even at that level yet. And quite honestly, it takes a while to talk about some of those things at length. Okay. Now, let's talk about the charts, right? Number one, I saw the analysis for Emmanuel. Yes, yes, yes. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I do believe gold will be buying as well. Uh, we just gotta let price settle because if it doesn't respect Friday's lows, we could see price going a little further into these areas, might be below the 44.86 price level. Who knows? So, with a structure like this, we need demand to respect the 45.30, 45.18 price action. Even if price were to just sweep a London low and just go down right there like this and then breaking retest, we'll just have to wait on the sweep breaking retest to still confirm whether this price level is going to be it for the week. All right. I try not to force things, especially in the beginning of the week. We know sometimes price will do all the stuff that it does, but once it respects the low enough by almost the end of the week, that's when they start to go crazy. So unless we have some form of fundamentals, then we might see price move faster. Um, ISM doesn't usually move the market too far. Euro. Hmm. Let's go ahead and take our time before we. Okay, we got Joe's job opening. We'll see how that goes. We got ISM again. Okay, so far the week doesn't really show too much going on, except for Friday. There's unemployment rate on Friday. We'll see how that plays out. Charticus, what's up, bro? It's been a minute. Telly in the building. It's good to see y'all. It's been a minute. All right. So yeah, that's what it's looking like. This week might not be too bad of a week as well. But just pace yourselves, guys. Throughout the week, just pace yourselves. Don't let the little things get to you like it used to. Yeah, I think that's one of the main things I see happening even in the chat. Like I'll see
Never
good communication happen and then like all of a sudden, uh who was it? Sometimes I like to also catch up with the chat. I know a lot of you guys have big goals, but let's try to just have a really good June and not fall off the wagon. Can we try and give ourselves that sort of promise this month? I want y'all to really, really pay attention to your performance over the next 90 days. All right. Every trade decision counts. Pay attention to your performance, how the next 100 trades, how you behave. Each trade, you need to really weigh in how you perform. Okay. All right. Now we're pretty much kind of walking into summertime. So just know, don't be so aggressive that by the time the real good smooth moves by the end of July starts happening and then you just all winded out. I don't want y'all to be winded. So we're gonna survive the next 60 days, trade accordingly, trade conservatively, and be okay with base hits, man. $300, 400, 500, $600, like $800. If that's what the market is given, it's fine. I want to see more payouts. I want to see y'all get a couple payouts under your belt, just like y'all was doing in the beginning of the year. I want to see that. Okay, so let's talk about Nas. Nas has honestly been working very well, but in the beginning of the sessions, Nas be a little funny, right? So don't be surprised or don't be afraid to trade the markets a little later in New York. If you trade in New York, I think after 11, price gives enough clues to where it's going to go. I know some of you guys are breakout traders and it works well for you. I think pre-market and a few hours within the session is much better. Okay. So, how many of you guys are getting slapped within the first hour of the session and it's just like working way better an hour, hour and a half later? What's it been like for y'all? Let's hear your experiences these past couple of weeks. I like that.
Like the opposite.
Yeah, the opposite.
It slapped.
Okay, good. That's awesome, bro. You're on the future side now, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly, yeah. For the last couple of months, yeah.
All right. Okay, Quell says she likes market open. Okay, if it's working, good. I don't mind hearing good things about your performances. That's really what matters the most. Okay, so Friday, it looks like in the afternoon. Oh yeah. The market definitely had a retracement after that beautiful rally to the upside. Friday we had a retracement, 10:45. I didn't get to actually see what happened next with Nas here. US 30 was a bit nasty in the way the price action was moving. But as we can tell, like we're still doing the same things when it comes to like optimal trade entries. Market will sweep London lows. We are bullish, right? Sweep London lows, give you a nice break and retest. Typically, the break and retest is even cleaner if you didn't catch.
The voice chat,
Yeah, yeah.
like group chat.
hmm Don't neglect your 5 minute entries, guys. After you mark out the chart, you see nice sweep breaking retest. Sometimes off the corner to the right is when price will give you a nice retest. Those are always the cleanest as well. Why? Because you get to risk less and make more. Okay. So even with gold, you get your nice breaking retest. On average now, you remember when we used to just do 50 pip stop losses on gold? Now 150 pips is the new 50 pips. So sometimes I'm seeing retracements and I'm like, damn, that structure low right here. If I get in, I'm gonna have to have it be 150 pip stop loss. But usually them 150 pip stop loss means I'm getting 300, 400 pip TP. Sometimes the market give us 500 pips. I caught this trade right here actually. At 10:52, price took off. I exited right there by like 45.76. And my stop loss was right there. Okay, so I'm telling y'all this because some of y'all have smaller accounts, and it don't matter. I don't have big accounts these days, right? But even when you're trading with a .01 and your stop loss has to be at 150 pips, most you're gonna lose is 15. The best you might even make is 56 at a .01. So ain't no way you should be out here losing and blowing an account in a whole week just because one move didn't happen. We're not giving ourselves those excuses anymore. All right. So even with a .02 on a small account, if you risking $30 on a trade, which you should be, right? $15, $20, $30 on a very small account, most you can make is like a good $100. That's withdrawable. You do that 5, 7 times in a month, even with a small account, you're still making good money. Yeah, I still trade Forex, brother. Still do. Right? So now I'm saying this with a contract, right?
Israel.
Hell yeah. You know how many people still trade Forex and they're like 70 years old? If it ain't broken, man, we still making money with Forex, bro. It's not the old fad or like NT4, dog. A two lot, 400 pips, still $8,000, brother.
That's true.
Hey, I didn't have to pass a challenge yet, and I'm still making money. You get me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pluses and downsides too, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty much almost in 2K right now, bro.
That's good. Secure that.
Oh, I'm out.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Payout coming soon. You said
Hey,
you'll be funding a personal account with the payouts.
yeah, that's my
Yeah.
goal. That's my goal.
Good,
That's
good,
my
good.
goal.
Emergency savings, because great times you got it's like a responsibility when you're trading and you are in the zone, right? Y'all having good payouts, you knocking shit out the park. That's good. I'm proud of you. But there's a responsibility you still have to uphold. Aggressively save. Move some money into higher savings. Put some money into, ETFs. Don't start getting comfortable, right? Because once the market humbles us again, so this time you got bread saved up. This time you did the right thing. This time you're not on your ass. Y'all understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Winning streaks have a funny way of like getting us like we on top of the world, and then you start having bad streaks and it's like, oh Lord, man, I don't know if I could do this anymore. That always happens when you didn't save enough, and I learned that shit the hard way. Hard. I didn't expect Q1 to last this long with weird price action, but I'm looking at April like, look, somebody come and look at this. Just like nothing happened. Like I wasn't struggling to catch a good move. But Q2 is totally different. So stop blaming the market. Start looking at how we just got to keep gaining more wisdom for the road ahead. And then we get to have more in-depth conversations with our loved ones when they're asking questions while we're trading, right? Because it's a business. Okay. We got a net profit by the end of the 12 months just so we can say, hey, this is how much we made. Good months, bad months, but this is how much we netted at the end of the year. Now we talking like pros. Y'all get me? Okay. So let's carry on with US 30. Now we are seeing that US 30 is basically respecting 4-hour highs. It's probable that we might see a retracement back to make higher lows. Okay. So if we're going into the tomorrow's New York and we see prices still like sweeping London highs, sweeping this previous high, we might actually catch counter trade sales back into Friday's lows here and just looking for higher lows to be made. Okay. The last time we saw price getting closer to higher highs again, they pulled back in. And then by the end of the week, we have the Tuesday retesting, Wednesday retesting Tuesday, start having Thursday retesting the previous days of the week. We all know those are opportunities to buy. So we don't have to trip if we can't tell what the hell's going on and the conditions aren't too good. We know these guys are always going to try and make the best out of pulling back to make higher lows. So out of the week, if it's not making sense yet, we know the indices love to retest previous day lows to go back down. And if they need to make higher lows, they're going to sweep 4-hour highs. And then, of course, you can just drop down to the M5 or M1 to catch a beautiful counter trade sell. We know what to do. Like we understand price action at this point enough to know how to attack the market and control our urges and emotions. All right. As far as I'm concerned, that's about it for me. Is there something that we talked about today that was very much like eye-opening or preparing you to just like for the week? Oh, Quells, you still got your hand up?
No, I just raised it again.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, ask
So
away.
for your friend, kids. Anyways,
Which
so
one
for
of my
your
friend?
friend, Q, QB2,
QB Stew. Okay.
yeah. Um, so when he, come on, boy, be quiet. So when he made 100K, you say he let it go. Why didn't he like take the money? Like why he just continued to hold? Because I mean, let's be real, like some people they don't even make that within 2 years.
I love it when
Forget
you make
forget
these perfect examples
yeah,
within your
forget
statement.
making it in a year because I do know people, who can make that within a year with like a 9 to 5, no trading. Um, even myself, like no trading. If I'm consistent with, what I do, I could make something like that. But for him to be in a trade, like not having to work for it with his hands. I mean, yeah, we're using our hands, but you know what I mean. Like, why didn't he close it?
Because just like you said, someone's 2-year salary is not his issue right now. When you are in a different position with trading, you think about trades differently. Stu, when I spoke to him a few months ago on the phone, we had a 2-hour conversation. This is not the first six-figure trade that he's made. When his mom died recently, um, it opened up his eyes to opening up a trust. Um, some people have great affiliate deals and they have a pretty good um downline of referrals that help them to make different diversified streams of income, especially within the broker space. So he was okay risking 100,000 and swing trading it. Sometimes, as traders, we all know if it's not part of our plan, just like D said, we just didn't see the money as like, oh, that's somebody's salary. You get me? Especially if 6 months, 12 months of emergency savings and living expenses is already tucked. You get me? You trade with a lot of a different mindset. The 100K is not gonna make or break you if you lose it. You get me? Um,
So in other words, he can afford it.
of course, of course. Um, but here's the thing, right? It's not that he lost it. It's also because he knew if the market once again retested a 4-hour high, he would once again try that trade, and the account balance was large enough to sustain whatever withdrawal that happened. He would just break even. Not drawdown that would happen, he would just break even again. You know? So you gotta think about these things. Like once you know your setups, once you know when's the next get back, when you see that setup again, you don't mind losing certain funds. For example, y'all seen me being drawdown of 40K, right? And I somehow made it back. Why? And I kept saying since boot camp of 2024, I'm like, hey, in my head, I'm like, look, yeah, we messed up. Yeah, we lost this amount of money. Yeah, we probably missed a trade setup, but let me see that setup again. I'll be risking exactly that, and I'll be making that trade or that profit again. Yeah, that's when you start to really categorize your setups. You know when the market is retesting 4-hour highs. Okay, you start to scale in from Monday night, for example. You know, like that's a 2 to 3 day trade that you typically learn to see. Okay, so if you know that this is a reoccurring behavior, even if you lost some bread trying to trade that setup and didn't work out, the next time you have the confidence that it will work out, so it's worth another attempt. You scale up to 40 lots, whatever, he's gonna see that 100K again. So it's like you gotta really get to that point where you know your setups so well, you know yourself on the charts so well that the losses don't bother you much. Even the break evens don't bother you much because you see that same setup again. You're gonna scale in that same way and you're gonna make that back. Okay. KG.
Hey, Sir Hans, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, referring back to like, when you're talking about the comfortability in either losing or being at break even, I
Yeah.
had a season where I was profitably trading, getting consistent wins and starting to feel confident in not only my strategy, but the risk management at that time. Something that I really was in tune and recognizing was when I started losing and when I started winning,
Mm-hmm.
something with my bank account changed, meaning the transactions within my bank account,
Oh, yeah.
from your checking and your savings,
Yeah.
you're just like, all right, wait, I'm seeing a pattern because I'm consistent now that things are
You're
starting to,
spending more, right?
not that I was spending more necessarily, but I started seeing that it all made sense
Mm.
because when I looked at the losses I took, it kind of looked the same way as if I was spending on my actual real personal checking account.
Mm.
But before I was not consistent, right? I was spending more. So I had to find that reflection through trading during that season to make me feel comfortable when I go to the next level because I was trading, my personal funds and I had a prop firm account. So I was like, yo, trading this 100K account doesn't feel the same when I'm trading my own money because, you're trading with a higher leverage. So
Right.
you're not losing the same amount of money. So if you lose like a lot of money on a high leverage account, you kind of feel it more versus when you're trading with a low leverage account, you're just not even really, feeling the effects. So I just wanted to bring that up because psychologically, it took me some time to get comfortable with losing a certain amount of money and winning a certain amount of money to be able to just say, all right, let's keep pushing through this storm and not just be like, oh, I can't do it.
Yeah, I like
You
that,
know?
bro. Also to get back into something Quell said, I remember when I took one of my biggest losses. Sometimes it'd be some numbers that just kind of bother me a little bit. Cause I'll be like, yo, that was my old salary, bro. Or like, man, what the heck? Da 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 da. Some people, for them to get to a higher level, you need to start getting used to losing a certain number to go to a higher level, right? Early in the webinar, I said millionaires lose millions to make millions, or they spend and invest millions to make more millions. I know some guys who are spending $1 million on ads to make $3 million in revenue. I know personally in my trading, um, some time ago, I literally kept on losing the same amount of money, and I don't know what the heck is going on. Then finally, once the lesson clicked, that's when I'm like, oh, that's why I keep losing this amount of money. Some things just are reoccurring. Now, some of my peers, right? I've watched them lose hundreds of thousands before. So it's like they're normal, right? It's like, damn, I lost 98K before. Yes, I lost 106K before. But the person also made 300K before and withdrew, made 450K before and withdrew. And sometimes it's like you get used to certain levels of pain and tolerance for you to go higher, right? Some people had to watch floating drawdown of 100, 200K just so they could make 900K. Some people would be in floating drawdown of 15K so they could finally know what it feels to taste 50K. That was me. I've seen floating drawdown of $20,000 when I was looking to find an opportunity for 40. Before I started having 10K days, I realized I would have to find the best opportunity to risk 2,000, 3,000 on a trade. Why? Because look, even a simple trade like this where the market's coming down to sweep London lows, that's a thing that happens very often. I'm like, okay, London lows swept. Let's say I needed to just catch 150 points every time the market did that. If I needed to make $10,000 on a trade like that, how much would I need to risk and where would I have to put the stop loss? And that goes for futures too, right? How many contracts do you have to risk to make a certain amount of money? You need to start knowing that, and it matches up with the setup. Okay. So if I'm risking on average, once price gives that break and retest, and I have to put my stop loss 100 points away, right? That's something I need to know. But if 150 points is what I'm aiming for to make 10,000, I need to already set that in the future by knowing how much and risk that I need. So if $66 is what I got to use to catch 150 points to make 10 bands, but about about 100 points is what I got to risk. 120 points is what I got to risk for this trade. And 66 times 120 points, I got to be risking that much? Heck no. I'm not taking that trade, right? But if you're using a certain amount of money to make a certain amount of money, you have to know the odds. At all times, you got to know the odds, right? If you're risking $3,000 on a trade and uh the stop loss is 120 points. It's $25. But the minute it goes 150 points, it's 3,750. So that's the risk to reward sometimes y'all don't pay attention to get to that goal you said you want. You get me? So if someone is trying to make $100,000, they know the risk. Yes, it took time to adjust to that type of Jordan. Yeah, it takes mad time, mad pain, right? For somebody to squat 300, 400 pounds, like you had to work it up. And that's just what it comes down to, you know? What are some of y'all goals by the end of the year? Like, what are some of y'all realistic goals that still scares you, but you feel like you can achieve it? Let's put that on the table. Payouts. Like, what type of payout y'all like to see by the end of the year? Let me hear y'all. Let me hear y'all worst fears right now.
What my man was saying earlier, he was describing not a fear, but hoping something to just implement, just to get in that routine, for lack of better terms. You know, just from start to finish, trade, pulling out, how you structure your money, repeat. You know, like he was saying, he would see some of his patterns like reflecting as if he was spending his own money. But yeah, and just like I guess a routine, developing a routine.
Okay. I like that. When I say fear, I'm like, you know you want that, but you kind of like
So I
it
guess you can
scares
say
you,
I
you
guess you
know?
can say that that's part of the fear.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have a routine, and then you'll have those moments of those fear of missing out moments.
Mm,
But you just have to remind yourself like the opportunity is always gonna be there. But unless you have a routine, you're gonna fail. Like you said too, with the if you can make that 100K, but if you don't pull it out, it there was nothing to show for it, you know.
yeah. Yeah. It's true. Let me hear y'all out. What are some of y'all? Obviously, I know sometimes, like, once we say it, and in many traditions and cultures, like, once we say it's like, damn, it's like an omen. It's like a, uh, what's the word? It's like you jinxing yourself. But for the sake of it tonight, are y'all keeping up with how many payouts y'all'd like to see, or on track for, let's say, 5 payouts this year, 6 payouts this year? Like, are y'all keeping in track some of y'all goals about things that you would want to see by the end of the year? It could just be a yes or no.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say you're on track?
I'm on track. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Good.
On track.
Okay. That's good. Okay. As long as you guys are paying attention to these type of things, that's all
Hold
I'm
on.
happy for. Emmanuel, you were gonna say something.
So yeah, Hans, I'm pretty much on the trade. I don't know if you're looking at the chat on Discord. So I'm just focused on the trade right now. So but I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
What does
What
that
is
mean?
that?
I'll be getting payout. I already have like 3 payouts, like this year. So I'm looking to get to my goal is get up to like 6. That's pretty much realistic for me anyway. So yeah, I just came back anyway. Remember I told you I travel. I just came back. So
That's good.
yeah, so
That's
just
good.
looking for like more payouts. 'Cause, like I'm not working right now, so my life depend on trading. So
Mm.
uh,
Last year you wanted this to happen. Here you are.
that was my goal. I told you, I'm tired of working. Tired of working.
That's good. So remember, make sure you save aggressively. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
Of course. Okay. What we got? This is dropping to, okay, it's 9:26. Jaquel's favorite time of the day on the charts. 9:30. Let's see if there's any reversals.
You said my favorite time of the day on the charts. What that
Yeah.
mean?
You said typically by 9:30, price does like to reverse. That's what I mean.
Most likely, like 9 o'clock, because that's when the session. It's all Asian session, but it's the next session. Like how it's
Yeah.
Tokyo, then it's
Yeah.
yeah. Like when 9 o'clock comes, that's when the like more volume starts to
Kick
um
in.
place in. My real favorite is 9:30 market open. It feels like it's New Year's. Like Happy New Year! Boom, the bull drop. The orders start flowing.
Mm.
The volatility is there. That's my favorite. Cause sometimes it's like if you can really see where the direction is going, like why be afraid to get in? Even though sure you gotta be cautious, but hey, if you're a risk taker, you're a risk taker. If you're not a risk taker, you can't handle it, then you gotta stay away. But that's really my favorite.
All right. Now, what did you think about? You're welcome, bro. What did you think about what I said earlier?
Which part? You said a lot.
Yeah, you're right. I did say a lot. Um, with risk appetite and adjusting to certain levels of just going through the trenches and stuff.
Like with my risk or risk in general?
No, just scaling up risk appetite. Like getting to a point where six figures, risking that is like a point in life where okay, you want to get there, or like what is running through your mind?
Hmm. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, for me, realistically, like if I'm on a live account or if I'm on a funded account, like, you know, ready to get payouts, etc. Risk appetite for me, because I kind of would see it as like, because of course we're all looking to like replace our jobs and stuff. Or if we already did that, then that's great. But how I would see it is like if I can make $1,000 a day, then that's great because at the end of the week that piles up to 5,000. For some people they may think like, oh yeah, that's nothing, or but for me in my mind it's like I know what I would have to do with my hands to make that kind of money, or I
Mhm.
know what someone who has like a blue collar kind of job would have to do to make that kind of money. Sometimes they can't even make that kind of money within 2 or 3 days, like whatever. But so for me, in my mind, I feel like a number like that, that's pretty decent. 5K a week. If you make a little bit more than 5K a week, that's great. But 5K a week for an average, person living in America, that's good. Think about if you're paying rent. Most people rent, and this is a conversation we talk about all the time in our house. Most people rent is like 2,500, 3,000, 3,500. Like not owning a house, just renting an
Right.
apartment, like that's kind of crazy. So if you're making that, like if you're making 1K a day, and then, at the end of the month, you got to pay what you got to pay for your rent, like that's great, and of course you may have to pay other bills, whatever, but like focusing just on that, like if you can make 1K a day, like that's great. Even 500 a day.
Yeah, just making it realistic for your
Yeah,
lifestyle,
like a
the
real,
average
yeah,
person.
like a realistic number. So that's just
Yeah,
like my focus, just trying to make a realistic number and being committed to making that realistic number. That's what I'm trying to instill in my head, like I had before.
yes,
I'm going through my hiccups and stuff, but I'm still keeping that realistic number in my mind because I'm not really thinking about like, oh, what if I could make 100K a day, 50K a
right,
day? Like, I'm
exactly.
not trying to fantasize that because it's like, let's be realistic, just like what you said. Like, let's just be realistic. If that day does come, then great. But I know what I'm capable of doing, and I know I can do that because I've done it before. I have screenshots to show for it. I have the data even from years ago. Like I be seeing stuff that I used to share on Facebook. I would tag you in, and I'm like, yeah, like I've been doing that, but now I just really have to get disciplined to make that a reality, so it can be a ongoing thing.
Correct.
So
I'm so glad I came back to you so you could like verse that out because I'm sure you're speaking with a lot of people. And I applaud that. I agree with that, and I appreciate that input. Um, I do want to say a few things about that too. It just goes to show you we have to appreciate certain people's milestones, but that doesn't mean that reflects on you. Some people have gone through different experiences in life to where they wanted it at an extreme level. Some of us come from athlete backgrounds where now, if the NFL, for example, for him is not something that he reached, well, that was a chip on his shoulder. So he can feel like he's getting paid NFL contracts as an athlete to finally feel like he vindicated his own story. You get me? Now,
who you talking
secondly,
about? You talking about my son for his future?
no, we're talking about QB Stu, but yeah, him too.
Oh,
No, but what I'm saying is
yeah. I remember
some
you
people's
was doing
backstories is
football.
what pushes you forward into some things. Y'all have seen me do numbers in front of y'all too, right? I
Hmm.
have certain chips on my shoulder. When I walked out of working the traditional job, I'm like, yo, for me to prove that I I was having some crazy battles with myself. I'm like, yo, are you sure what you're doing is not stupid, bro? Like, are you sure? I needed to prove myself in a level where like I could see that I made a salary in a day. I could see that I made a salary off this skill. Like if somebody ever told me, oh, you wasting your time, I'm like, nah, nah, nah. I've tested the skill to levels where it's worth it in certain aspects for me. Now, the second thing is this. I've had this conversation where I was told, like, hey, people are not trying to see them $20,000 days. Uh, like, why can't trading just be realistic, like $300, $500? And let's like, people need to just show that. And I was like, not everybody, the realistic that somebody feels like they want to see is not the realistic that somebody else want to see, you know? But there are levels to how you should start to think about that. I remember I wanted to see some numbers so bad that I did get there, but I think it also even scared me, or I didn't sustain it long enough just being able to knock those big numbers. But when I hit that dopamine high, I'm like, okay, now that I know I can do it, cool. But let me just focus on base hits. That's more than enough because it takes a lot of energy to even make high five, six figures. Sometimes you're sacrificing a lot of sleep, a lot of stress, and you're risking a lot. But for you to even feel comfortable about making some amounts of money on the charts, you have to have had your ducks in a row. You get me? You can't just get lucky and do it. And if you do get lucky, then hurry up and take a lot of that out so you can stabilize your finances. You know what I mean? And that's why sometimes when people, for example, see a seven figure uh earning that was seen online, and friends and family sometimes tells us, oh, I saw this and that happen. You're like, okay, well, mentally that is not something that I'm able to even do right now, but I would love to do it in the future when all the ducks are in a row. You get me? But for now, we have to be comfortable and embrace the base hit numbers that we can bring. Because not everybody's story is written in a way where they have to bring those types of big numbers. And not everybody's even able to break into those numbers because it comes with a lot of pain. So yeah, it's important to just like meet yourself where you're at, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people, they say, oh, yeah, I want to be a full-time trader, or I want to do this, I want to do that. And it's like, yeah, all of those things are possible, but you just got to keep in your mind that just keep it realistic. Like, just be realistic. Just because you see such and such making 10K a day or 5K a day, like, it doesn't mean you may do that. And I'm glad I'm like, not even, thinking like that for myself because I just want to keep it real with myself. I want to be realistic with myself and go to sleep and be content with everything because again, like what if I didn't even have the skill set? What if I didn't even take the time to learn it? Then I
Yeah.
wouldn't be like, oh, I can make this, I can make that. I'll be like, oh, I gotta work this amount of days to make this, to make that, or I gotta work this amount of months, years, whatever. So
hmm I also will back that by saying I'm never going to limit your thinking. I'm never going to skyscrape or ceiling y'all capabilities here. It's so funny Antoine said that. I was gonna tell y'all, remember, this is also an arena where you can make a 10K, 20K payout, but you could do that in three payouts, four payouts. You get me? And I feel like a lot of people are not asking the right questions too. They see the number they like to achieve, but they're not asking the right questions. What questions am I talking about? Well, what account size can make certain amounts of money comfortably? What prop firm account should be scaled? For example, Antoine said, "How do I feel about trade sync, trade sinker and copy traders?" I think there's nothing wrong with them, but I will say this: if you're not consistent with one account, you're gonna blow several all at once with that account that's copied behind everything else.
Like, are you in my head? I was just thinking that for real because it's so popular now on TikTok to copy trade. And it's like
Yeah.
you can't even get past one account. Why you want to pass all your accounts? Even for me, sometimes I was thinking like that. Like, dang, if I have mad accounts, that would be great. But I'm not gonna copy them. Like realistically, I would just take one trade on that account, then go to the next trade and take it on that account. And I've done that before and I've gotten a payout successfully doing it that way because it's like you can trade on all your accounts and then blow all your accounts or have a red date on all of your accounts. Like then what?
Yeah. Well,
So
go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say so it makes sense to just trade one at a time, kind of.
Yeah.
If you're
But
not that skilled, of course.
yeah, every decision requires certainty of where you at, right? Um, I think it's a great thing. Trade Sinker, a lot of different, platforms like that. It's important, but you have to really sit down with your risk plan. And also, how you do one thing is how you're going to do every other account if you're copying from all of them. Your max loss for the day, your max loss overall has to be accounted for. So that way you're not losing a whole bunch of accounts at once. I've talked to people who have literally bought 6, 7 accounts just to say like they have $1 million in prop firm capital. And then 2 months later, they have a nothing account in prop firm capital because all of the prop firms got burnt. So re like sit down and like really map your trade plan all the way through before you start going like the copy trading route. You get me? If you have proof that you can handle an account and you pretty good with risk, then duplicate that risk. If you know the most you're gonna lose in a single day, no matter how bad it does get, or no matter how bad the conditions are, you're not gonna like revenge trade. And there's also account lockouts now. Okay, go ahead. I think it's a great idea. You know, don't limit yourself, but know where you at. Just know where you at in your trading.
Yeah, bro. Let me just tap on that. I don't know if you remember, like, was it like a month ago? I have like 5 accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I posted that, like, can somebody help me to trade, like, one of my accounts and stuff?
Yeah.
So somebody in the group advised me to do copy trading. I did that. Well, 2 days, I lost all of my account doing copy trading.
Yeah.
All of it. I sometimes it's pretty, but when you make it, you make it. But when you lose 5 accounts in a day,
Yeah.
geez, like, there's not God in it. Trust me.
Let me tell you something. I found out the stats, especially there was this one guy, Andrew Riyad. Uh, when he would go online and say, "Yo, I made $30,000 on all of my prop firm accounts from Take Profit." When we get in meetings and he's letting us know, like, "Yo, man, I I bought $3,000 in prop firm accounts this week, and I bought 20 trading accounts, like 20 prop firm accounts." And I'm paying attention to the math, and he's like, "Yeah, so I got to get a payout so that a way I could pay off my credit card and then also like buy more accounts." And I'm like, "Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, cool. That makes sense." But what happens when you don't make a payout? Then you've bought a lot of accounts and you just like combing through them. Another statistic is this: the average person that I heard got like 6 figures in payouts also pay close to 6 figures, high 5 figures, and paying for prop firms. Again, the ratio always makes sense, right? So if I were to ask y'all right now, how many prop firm accounts this year have you paid for? Let's be honest. Let's think about it.
I'm pretty much up to like like 1K.
1,000 accounts bought?
Yeah, pretty much
What
up
do
to that.
you sure?
Yes,
You've bought
sir.
1,000 prop firm challenges.
Up to that. Because like usually I only bought like two, The thing is that I always pass them. The funded, the moment I started doing copy trade, that's why I started losing more money.
Mm,
Yeah, that's the thing anyway. Because like how they have payouts, like remember I posted it in the group around
yeah.
February. I will pay out in January and February before I went to the UK.
Yeah.
Then I came back, I have a payout and I travel back, but within those range, but I was losing sometimes, sometimes I'll be in my bed. I'm like, fuck, like, did I just lose my money?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even- But can you just check on the chat? I'm on a trade right now anyway. I need help here. On gold.
Get out.
Get that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I'm pretty much on 2K, but like they're going up. So
Get out. Get out. Get out.
uh
Yeah. You're in cells. Get out.
yeah.
Remember, I had told you to secure that.
Because I was trying to get to the week of like the 15 minute.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was paying attention to this 1 minute zone.
I'm out anyway. I'm pretty much like 1,700. So I'm good.
Good. Good. Good. Good. Good. Don't try and even things out now.
But
Okay.
I'm good, bro. I just came
All
back.
right.
I need money. I'm broke right now.
Okay, I understand that. But be mindful of the fact that you already know how your week is about to start with that mindset. You need money, you're broke right now. Remember, chill out. Okay. So I'm glad I asked this question, y'all. You done bought about $1,500 accounts. So, but it's not too bad, right? Since a lot of these futures accounts are like $100, $50,
No,
$100.
I said spend over 1,500,
Oh,
not
see, that's why I
1,500.
asked. Make sure if it was 1,500 accounts or is
No,
it
no,
$1,500, right?
no.
Okay,
No,
so
I'm not saying 50, I say 1,500 account. It's like 1K account. I'm not saying like it's 1K account, but like multiple accounts of 1K.
you're
So
confusing the crowd, bro. But either way, do y'all feel like for the amount of accounts or money you've spent, have you seen the profits to cover the expenses? Are you in that realm? Like, have you made it to that side? Would you say, yeah, I made back most of what I've
yeah,
spent thus far?
for me, I make more than that. I'm not like I
Good.
already made more than that. I'm good.
Okay. Okay. Quells?
Yeah, especially like, because the chat we had the other day, I'm happy that I can walk around my house and be like, I bought that with trading, I bought that with trading. Like, it makes me, because I did that on purpose. Like, let me get some things so I can look around and be like, it's actually worth it and I'm putting in the work. So,
Mm-hmm.
not just like I'm putting it back into the brokers. I'm actually getting stuff
Right.
for the house, for my kids, for the fam, like for myself. So,
Good. Now, Chris, he was like, that's an addiction. You need help. That's why I wanted to bring this up. 1,500 accounts bought is not the problem. It's just like I said in the beginning of the webinar. Some people spend $1 million in ads to make $3 million in revenue. What is the ratio of risk or expense to reward? That's where we all need to base things, right? And it's just like in relationships. If you spent more in a relationship on one person and it's not the same way, right? What's the spent to reward ratio? You know what I'm saying? So if right now, and that's what the stats is, it's like if you're gonna buy a lot of accounts, be mindful of how much in profits and payouts you've gotten at this point, because it's got to either be even, or now you're actually making more than you're spending. Okay? If that's not what that ratio is, you need to tighten up. Yeah, you need to even buy less accounts and focus on more payouts. Does that make sense, guys? Because then if that's not where it's at, then yes, it is an impulse. I know a lot of kids who done went bankrupt off buying so many prop firm accounts and they never saw one payout. That shit sucks. Okay. It's the same thing with looking at how many times you done deposited into a broker and you've not even seen more than what, 5 withdrawals, or let alone 2. Nah, we got to do differently. Okay, so pay attention to these type of things. All right, pay attention to these type of things.
Yeah, Hans, what was your guy talking about? He say Jerome was supposed to speak today.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought he was like done.
I saw that late, but I don't know if Powell was really speaking today. And sometimes it's like, what is he speaking? Where is he speaking at? Is he just
I think he was accepting some kind of award at the Kennedy Center.
okay? All right, we got it here. Former Fed chair delivers a pointed warning wrapped in abstraction. Accepting an award for political courage, the Fed governor hinted at why he broke with convention to keep his board seat. In a speech that dwelled, I hate when the Wall Street Journal does this for me, but I'm not paying, fam. Like, let me show y'all something.
It's a website for you, but Wix Harmony builds it with you.
I know some of y'all said y'all don't be using Chat GPT. Cool else. Let me show y'all something.
Yo, bro, I looked to try to open a chat GPT, right? And I had you in mind, of course. I think this was just like 3 weeks ago. I don't know. And they say you gotta pay for it.
Wow, it's $21, Quells.
What I look like paying for chat is like, come on out.
And it's still
There's
free.
no
Like
way.
the free version, you can still do a lot. Watch this. Summarize.
That $21 can go to gas, man. I gotta take my kids and pick them up daily from
Now, if you're not
school.
a high-end user of ChatGPT, you ain't gotta pay for it. When I need to
Yeah.
do like high-end things, I pay for it. But if I'm not, subscription is not. Summarize this.
It's free if you ask it 5 questions per day. It's free.
In 10 bullet points. You ain't even gotta watch. Hold on. Let me do that. All right. So I'm going to copy. Summarize Powell's speech for me. Yes. There it is. If you're referring to the most recent Powell speech, here are 10 biggest takeaways. The Fed must remain independent. Powell's central message was that political interference in the Federal Reserve would damage its credibility and effectiveness. Number 2, trust is in the Fed's most valuable asset. He emphasized that decades of public confidence could be lost if monetary policy becomes political. He's basically saying, Kevin Warsh, Don't become Trump's puppet because that's gonna not. It's not gonna look good for the Fed, and the Fed's supposed to stay independent no matter what. Number three, he pushed back against political pressure without naming specific politicians. Powell warned against removing Fed officials simply because of policy disagreements. Okay, good. Number four, inflation remains the primary concern. The Fed's focus is still getting inflation back to its 2% target. Interest rates, number five, may stay higher for longer. Powell indicated policy is currently well positioned and there's no rush to ease. Number six, the labor market is stable but not booming. We've said this many times, even though it's hard times right now. He described it as balanced though hiring and job switching activity remains subdued. Sometimes I forget what subdued means. Let's look it up real quick, all right? Subdued. Quiet and rather reflective or depressed. Subdued, somber, low-spirited, downcast. Exactly. Not as good. Not high numbers, right? The economy remains resilient. Consumer spending and overall growth have held up better than many expected. Number eight, the Fed will follow data, not politics. Yeah, he's making a statement here. Powell stressed that decisions will continue to be based on economic analysis. Number nine, the fight against inflation may involve some pain. He reiterated that restoring price stability is essential even if it creates short-term economic discomfort. Number 10, his speech was as much about institutions as economics. Much of the address focused on defending democratic institutions, accountability, and the rule of law. All right. So that's what that was about. Typical Powell, being very calm mannered. Old head is just saying, yo, y'all need to chill. This is not that. No matter how it's a new person, this is how it's going to basically be looking like for the Fed and what they need to be doing. Okay. So it's always good to read, especially right now. We're seeing more than ever a lot of people y'all even go back and forth with in the comment section, not even reading past the 6th grade level. Yeah. But it's also good to understand what we're up against over the next 3 to 6 months, even into the next year or so. All right. So we talked about a lot of really good points today, haven't we? We talked about when is the best time to hold swing positions for months. We talked about risk management. We talked about technicals. We talked about realistic goals. We talked about base hits. We talked about finances, how to realistically do when it comes to trading and withdrawing, seasons of profitability. We also talk about taxes. This was a jam-packed webinar. So let's see what price does tomorrow. See if we can retest some areas. New York typically will just look out for sweeps of the prior sessions to catch good opportunities. And let's keep winning. Let's keep winning. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your night. Peace, love, and blessings. And I will post this webinar once it's loaded. Okay?
All right.
Thanks,
Good
Hans.
night, Hans. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, bro, but if you look at the 15 minutes, they're coming down to my week though.
Hey, man, you sound like you about to trade again.
No,
Thanks,
I'm out.
Hans. Have a good evening.
I'm out. I
Yeah,
promise you I'm out.
okay.